family. Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this the love that I've been searching?
Well, good morning. Hey, I know you're cold, but I need you to wake up. Good morning. All right, great. So good to see you guys this morning. Welcome to Freedom Fellowship. My name is Kacy Benson, and I am the lead pastor here at Freedom Fellowship. We're so glad you're here. And a couple of things, if you're brand new with us, let me show you this. This is our Connect card. This Connect card right here, we would love for you to fill in your information just on who you are, where you at. And we'd love for, to get in touch with you, give you more information about Freedom Fellowship and what we're all about here, how we're serving our community and what we're doing in this area. Thank you. And then there was lights. On the back, and I definitely want you to see this. This is what we take very seriously, is prayer. We do believe in prayer. We do believe that God answers prayer. And we want to know if we can pray for you in any way. We want to do that. And so you can fill this on the back here. Say, hey, just please pray for this. My cat's lost. Okay, we'll pray for that. All right. I might not, but somebody will, all right? But, no, I'm kidding. I'll pray for your cat. All right, so you fill that out, drop this in the offering box, as well as this is the offering envelope. You had one of those when you come in. Thank you guys for being so generous and giving to Freedom Fellowship so we can keep the lights on. We're able to keep them on for at least one more week, so thank you for your help on that one. We do need for 2 weeks, though, so thanks for helping. All right, couple things. Let me just give you a little shout out. Actually, I'll go back to that in a second. Our student ministry, let me talk about that. We, on Wednesday night, I know it's Valentine's Day, but we are having student ministry. We call it 180. It will be on Wednesday. It's Valentine's Day, but we have a bunch of middle schoolers. They're not in dates anyway, so we'll have them in youth group, okay? Our men's ministry is, our last session is on this week. On Thursday at 6 a.m. That's right, 6 a.m. Lost most of you. We meet. It's our last one. Then we're going to kick it back up later. So I'll give you some more information on that later. Let me just quickly get through this. Our men's Journey. All right, let me hit Journey real quick. Journey is this. People have been asking, hey, how do I get involved? What do I need to do here, or things like that, or I want to become a member. We don't really have we do have members only jackets that we're going to pass out. And we're going to christen people with swords. So that'll be fun. No, there's not anything spooky like that. But if you would like to become more involved, more this one, it's called Journey. If you want to go on this journey with us, okay, we would love for you to sign up. It's in your bulletin on the back right here, how to sign up. We're going to feed you something, and I'm going to give you I'm going to spend an hour with you on what we're about, how to be involved, become a member, if you would say. Okay, we don't really use the word member, but just go on the journey with us. And that's on the 18th. So look at that. Let me know if you're interested, if you have any questions about it. And of course, we always put our offerings and our givings on here and where we are to meet our budget. All right. With all that said, before I introduce somebody, and this is the first time we've ever done this, so this will be very interesting. Okay. First of all, our series that we're starting is basically God's purpose for our relationships. And this is not a marriage series. It's anything like that. This is our relationships with everybody, our kids, our husbands, our wives, of course, the people we work with, our relationships. What is God's purpose for our relationships? Of course, Vickie and I are going to talk about our relationship. This will be fun. It will. I'm hoping I get a word in edgewise because I'm kidding. But it's going to be great, and I'm going to tell you that. But last night, I got to give you a little shout out for last night. Last night, we had our very first annual date night. It was fantastic. We were in this room. We had tons of people show up. Yes. And so would you give a big round of applause for those that have helped set up and tear down? Sunshine made this really incredible, what do you call that, photo booth? And so we're going to leave it up for the month of February so you could jump in it, take a picture. There's all kinds of stuff. We also played last night a game up on this stage, and it was a not so newlywed game. And it was a lot of fun. I think there's another picture of somebody else up here. I'm not sure. Maybe. Yes, that's our winners right there. Where you at? They're here. They started, I'll tell you, I'll be real with you. They started out, everybody in the room went, oh no. Everybody in this room went, oh, they're going to need counseling. But they turned it around, came back and won this joker. Yeah, it was awesome. I think the best line, and I don't even know if they're here or not, they said, yeah, the best line was your line right here, was like, what is the one phrase your wife says the most to you? And hers was, have you lost your mind? That was my favorite line of the night. But it was fun. We had a great time. People even asking, hey, do we have to wait for February to do this again? And so we're thinking about doing some more stuff, some game nights that we're going to have in here just for, not just couples, but for anybody, because it was so much fun. And then if next year, we're hoping to grow this thing, we're going to have Daryl Hall and John Oates here. We're going to have to really grow this thing if that's going to happen. But so let me jump in with this, all right? So we're going to jump into this series. I'm excited about it. I'm really pumped about where God's going to take this, on what we're going to do here. So I want to introduce to you, all right? And then I'm going to share how we met and how I proposed. Okay, I'm a little nervous about this one, but so bear with me. I'm a little nervous about this. But so my wife is from Georgetown, Texas, born in Michigan, somewhere up in there, that area. I should probably know that. Glad that's not a newlywed question. And I have to mention, she is a 6-time, all right, according to last week, 6-time district champion. That's right. They just won the district. Vickie Benson, come on out. Where you at? Hey.
6 times in a row?
6 times, I'm sorry. Let me that is 6 times in a row, okay, since 2013, began to win district and hadn't lost yet, all right? And then for 2 years in a row, undefeated. But who's counting? Apparently you are. I coached for about 15 years, and I was a basketball coach. I was at Lake Travis High School, and this is kind of how we met. And go ahead, go ahead, sit down. Thanks. So we
just don't lean backwards.
No, don't lean back. Okay, there's no backs. Okay, so we actually met at a basketball camp. I was coaching at Lake Travis High School. She was coaching at McNeil High School. But before we met, you were actually playing at Concordia, and she went to a camp, and we both began to work this camp together. And I remember seeing her thinking, I can take her in one-on-one, right? No, I couldn't. So I lost that game, and I thought, I want to marry someone who can beat me in one-on-one, right? And so that happened, and then we became friends, and we hung out, and we began to do some Bible studies together and things like that. And it was kind of a long stretch, but she got a job at McNeil High School as an assistant basketball coach. I was a freshman A and B basketball coach at Lake Travis High School, and we began to talk and hang out, and she was running the FCA, that's Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I was running the FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, at Lake Travis. I really wanted to get to know, I really wanted to get to know her more. So what I did was I called her up and I said, hey, how's your FCA? She said, it's great. I said, I've been doing this for a couple years over here at Lake Travis. Got it kind of figured out. We got about 200 kids. And she's like, oh, that's good. We have 3. I said, well, cool. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, a little bit more than that. I said, hey, you know what? I said, how about we get our FCAs together? Let's pull them together and do a night out of FCA. Your group, my group. Well, let's mingle them together, and it'll be awesome. And I'm not going to lie to you, this was my way of getting a date, okay? I wanted a date. I was afraid to ask her for a date, so I thought, here's how I'll do this. I'll work this in. And we did. We brought our FCAs together. We met halfway, I think somewhere on 620 at a putt-putt golf course. I told all my kids, I said, hey, man, there's this coach over there, and I just want you guys to know I'm a little smitten, okay? And they're like, Coach, we don't use those kind of words. I go, all right. And then she was there, we were there, we kind of sat at a picnic table and we hung out. And
I told my kids about this, how nice this guy was, that he's trying to help us grow our FCA. This is so nice that he would go out of his way to do that for us. And they're like, Coach, he likes you. Like, no, how you can be nice to somebody and not like them. They said no.
Not that day. So we decided to meet there. We met there. It was great. And of course, we sat at a table and just talked and stuff and really got to know each other. And our students, which was funny, they all got together, mingled with each other, but they sat there the entire night and talked about us talking with each other.
They were like spying on us everywhere we went. They were following us.
Yeah, they're like, there they go. They're putt-putting. So I knew I was going to marry her. And we worked this through, and we didn't talk about marriage. We kind of did. We only dated for about, 3 days? And then... No, we dated for several months, but I just knew I was absolutely in love with this lady, and I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, and I was like, I got to marry her. And here's just a quick side note. This is free. the one thing I was praying about was I worked at Lake Travis as a teacher. I didn't have a whole lot of money. She didn't have a whole lot of money. And the whole time I kept thinking, because, you grow up thinking you got to have all this money to get married. You got to have all these things put together. You have to have your life right. And you have to have all this stuff. And, and it was just all the kind of coming together. But I didn't have money to buy a ring. I couldn't buy a ring at all. And so I really prayed about it. I said, God, I really want to marry this lady. I don't have a ring. I don't have those things or whatever. And literally, you can't make this kind of stuff up. I prayed that on a Saturday night, showed up at church on a Sunday morning, and a woman walks up to me and hands me a box and said, God told me to give this to you. Yeah, that didn't blow your mind, okay? Yeah, so she hands me a ring and said it was my grandmother's, and last night God told me to give this to you. I did not tell anybody I didn't have money for a ring. I told not one person except for God. Okay, tell me God's not real. And so I'm sitting there looking, and here's what I say to her. No, I can't take your ring. Yeah, I go, no, I can't do that. I can't take your ring. And God goes, boy, I just told you I'm giving you a ring. And I was like, oh yeah. So I got the ring. I said, this is it. And so now here's how this now go into this deal. So it was Lake Travis's prom. And they always would hire me to MC the prom. Okay, I say hire me, I was worked there already. But for the 3 years I was there, they would say, hey, because you're doing the prom. So I would MC it, basically. Get up there, do the king and queen, do all that kind of stuff. Everything at the school that had involved some type of public speaking, they threw me in there. All right, so I loved it, but I was doing it that night. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to propose to her on prom night. Okay, so I invited her to prom. She got all dressed up and got a deal. I borrowed a friend's convertible Corvette, not knowing that she worked on her hair, and said, no, we're not putting the top down.
Wait, so
all right, here we go.
Hold up. So first of all, it was April 1st.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I was getting there.
Well, I want to go ahead and put that out there.
Put it out there. It was April 1st. And y'all know what April 1st is, right? April's Fool's Day. Yeah,
and
that's right. I proposed on April Fool's Day.
Being that it was April, April showers bring May flowers. So he has this convertible Corvette. It's drizzling rain that night, and it's freezing. So he wanted to go with the top down the whole night. This was not happening.
I just thought it would be fun. So my plan was I was going to pick her up, and she's like, no, the top's got to come up. I was like, okay, I don't know how to work this thing. I borrowed it from a friend, right? So I'm trying to figure out how to put the top up, finally get the top up. And there was a special place and people always ask me, because I've been, even when knowing her, I do a lot of things where I stand in front of people, and I did a camp, and thousands of people would come to this camp, and there was like, everybody thought, hey, I bet you want to go and propose like in front of thousands of people. I was like, no, I really want to keep it private and personal because, of that. So there was a spot that her and I would go and have dates, and it was over there off of Arboretum area, and we'd go to Amy's Ice Cream, get some ice cream. We would walk down to this little spot under a tree and have a Bible study, or just talk and hang out and just whatever. It was just a really cool spot. So that was the place that I was proposing. And so basically, I was going to do it like this. I was tying the ring in my Bible, okay, on the little ribbon. I was going to tie the ring onto that, leave it in the Bible, and then we were going to walk down there. I was going to open my Bible and say, baby, I love you, and say all these nice words and these things. And then I was going to read, of course, 1 Corinthians 13, right? Y'all know this. It's the love chapter. All right, so you got to go there. It's a proposal. And so we pull up, and it's raining.
And freezing.
Now, guys, I want you to understand something. I did not have a plan B here, okay? I have already worked out how I was going to do this from beginning to end. I didn't have if it's raining plan. I didn't have if she doesn't want to walk down to the tree plan. I didn't have that. So I'm panicking and freaking out because I pull up and I go, hey, let's walk down there. She goes, no.
Well, he said, do you want to go for a walk and go down to, our place? I go, well, not really, because it's raining and it's cold, so no.
So my mind starts to freak out, right? I'm like freaking out. I do not have a plan B, so I'm kind of tripping a little bit. So I have my Bible like this, right? And I had it to go walk with it. The ring is in it, okay? So I was like, okay, I got to do what I don't know what to do. So I just get out and go, hey, I'm going to go for a walk.
But then you put the Bible in the car.
Corvette works. Again, first time ever driving a Corvette. That was fun. And didn't get to put the top down, but it was fun. There's 2 seats, and there's no back seat. There's just like this little spot right here. So I threw my Bible on that little spot. And so I jump out of the car, and I began to walk around the front of the car thinking in my head, how am I going to do this? How do I get her out of the car? And I look up. She grabs the Bible.
Well, hold on, because he put the Bible down said, I'm going for a walk, closed the door, and left.
I was
I'm
freaking
like,
out.
what am I going to do? There's nothing to do in this car. There's nothing here. There's the Bible. I guess I'll read for a little bit.
So she goes for the Bible, right? Now, again, we just got back from dinner. So we hung out at dinner, and I was a little weird.
He was more than a little.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a little weird.
A lot.
Okay, it was a lot of weird. And I was trying to figure it out, again, I'm about to propose. I mean, this is a big deal, because what if she says no, right? I did have this out, though. She did say no. It was April Fool's, and I was about to say, April Fool's,
But wait.
and run away.
He had been talking.
Woods.
He had been talking all day about April Fool's is my favorite holiday, like it's really a holiday or something, and how I can't wait to play.
In my life, it was a holiday.
We play pranks, and I just can't wait to prank somebody. So I'm waiting for it all day. Like, what joke are you gonna play on me?
That one, right? So okay. So I come around the car. I see her grab the Bible. I panic real quick because she can't see this ring. I mean, it's in there. It's easy to pop open. It's going to be right there. I run around the vehicle. I sling the door open, and I reach in and grab the Bible. Go, give me that! And now this woman's going, who is this? And so at that moment right there, I go, I have to do this right here. She's not going to get out of this car. I'm blowing this moment that I have been waiting on. Now listen, I have told every kid at Lake Travis High School that I was proposing. So I couldn't just call it off and try it tomorrow, right? Because we're about to walk in there. And so all of them were going to be like, hey, and I'm like, So I had to do it. So I grabbed the Bible, I go over, and I said, hey, I got down on my knee. She's sitting in the car, probably wondering why I just snatched it away from her. And I said, I love you. And I've enjoyed this last 2 days with you. And it was longer than that, it was a couple months, I just know I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you, and I know that I love you. And so I go down and I begin to read 1 Corinthians. And I think we have it on screen. If not, here's what I said. I said, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it's not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not eagerly angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects and always trusts and always hopes and always perseveres. And I began to read this verse, and it meant a lot because all those things I wanted to give to her. So I go skip down to 13. I said, and now all three things, hope, faith, and love. I said, but the greatest of these is love. And so I did this. I shut the Bible because my plan was to say all that and then say all this stuff and then turn the Bible around and say, will you marry me? And so what I did was I made the mistake of saying that. I shut it, said a bunch of nice things, and then I go, I shut the Bible. I couldn't find the ring. I'm doing this number here now. All that's talking and all that build up and set up, I just blew because it was supposed to be boom, marry me, so I did it again. Yes. She's like, what?
He was staring at me. He closed the Bible, said some things, and then just stared at me.
I panicked. I just go,
I love you too. I don't really know what to
and
say.
I'm just staring at her, and I'm going, I shut the Bible. So I popped it back open real quickly.
Love is patient, love is kind. We went all over again.
Love does not. I'm just going through it. Said all the stuff again, turned it around, and I said, I love you. Would you please marry me? Because I can't do this alone. And the first thing she said was, is this real? First words out of her mouth, is this real? And then she says, because if not, I'm going to kill somebody. And I thought she meant the ring. So I don't know, Peggy gave it to me.
I said, not the ring, like the whole thing. Well, the ring too, but all of this, is this real?
And she said yes. And we've been married for 18 years. So, what's made us think...
18 years.
18 years. And that's why I wore my Backstreet Boys outfit this morning. So, with all that said, we want to share with you this morning on, we're not trying to say we have it figured out, okay? We're 18 years in, and I think we're going to make it, but we're doing good. I mean, we're in, and we know we're in, and we love each other, but there are still bumpy roads we have. We still have things that we have to, I think for the rest of our lives together, we will be working on our marriage. We'll be working on relationships. So again, what we're talking about today is not 100% on marriages and all that, because if you're saying, somebody's saying, well, I'm not married, I'm not this, I'm not that. It's on our relationships with each other together. And so there's a book, and it's about, and what we want to do is one of the things that's helped us out tremendously in our relationships and our marriage, and even our relationship with our kids and our relationship with others, is this book, and it's called by Gary Chapman. It's on love languages. And this is one of the things that have completely, totally helped us in our relationships. And it's on love languages. And we want to give you the 5 love languages this morning and give you a little bit, just a challenge on how you can learn those on each other, for your kids, for the people in your life, okay? And so the quote we have up here, and I'll read the quote to you. It says, "For love will not climb mountains. Love will not cross seas. Traverse desert sands and endless untold hardships without love." Everybody say love.
Love.
Make sure you're with me. Okay. Without love, mountains become unclimbable. Seas become uncrossable. Deserts become, and hardships become unbearable. Love is huge, and knowing our love languages and who we're with and who we're around the most will help us in our relationships and better our relationships. And we want to feel, and again, I want to say this, and I'll keep saying this because some of you go, well, I'm not married, or I'm a kid, or I'm this. It's our relationships, okay? And I want to fill her love tank. He talks about having a love tank, okay? And we all have this. We have this thing called a love tank. And so we want to, and put things in that love tank. If you put the wrong things in the love tank, well, it doesn't work, right? Like if I took a car that runs on unleaded gasoline to the gas station, and I fill that tank up with diesel gasoline, what's going to happen to that car? It's not going to work. It's not going to run. It's going to have trouble. It's going to go wrong. So if I put the wrong love language into her, she puts the wrong into me, well, it's not going to run right. So knowing what our love languages are is going to help us and benefit our relationships, okay? And so we'll just kind of jump right into them because and we'll tell you which one's ours. We know I know hers, she knows mine, okay? And I'm still working on knowing our kids. I'll be honest with you. She knows our kids, but I'm still thinking this is, as they grow up, because I still want to beat them. All right, so the first one is this. The first one out of the bat, okay, right off the bat, it is the words of affirmation. That's number 1. Write this in your notes. Put this on your deal. It says the words of affirmation. Words of affirmation, and of course, can anybody tell which one of us needs this one? I'm just curious what you think. If you know us, who needs words of affirmation? Me, that's right. This is my number 1, okay? And a lot of it probably has to do with my background. I grew up with a father who was an alcoholic and a drug addict. My father used to say things to me that were tough. My dad told me I was worthless. My dad told me I was nothing. My own father told me I was a mistake over and over and over and over in my life. He beat me up. He said very mean things to me. And when you hear those things from someone who's supposed to love you and take care of you and protect you and do those things, you begin to believe those things. And I believed them for a long time in my life because my father let that alcohol control his life and it hurt me. And so this is why words of affirmation is huge for me. It's just like my number 1, okay? Because I think of my background. And so one person, 1,000 people could tell me when I walk off a stage somewhere and go, man, that was amazing, so good, it was so funny, it was so this. And one person can walk up and go, hey, how you doing? And walk off and I go, oh, they hate me. That's where I'm at. But it's so true. And I'm just curious how many guys can feel the love of affirmation one in your lives. Okay, I'm just curious. All right, good deal. You have something to add to the love of affirmation?
Well, yeah. So,
words of affirmation?
It doesn't mean that if that's not your primary love language that it's not nice to hear nice things or like good job when you do it, but it doesn't devalue your relationship or make you feel unloved by people in your life. So, but when we were trying to figure this out about each other before we knew about love languages and stuff, I didn't understand how much he needed that because I don't need that as much, and I didn't understand it. And I would tell him something, and then it just wouldn't be enough. Like I'd have to make sure I did it over and over, which we'll get to in a second. But when you don't understand that that's somebody's need, it can be frustrating if you aren't really learning how to communicate that. It can be frustrating for you and for them.
Yeah. And in 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, so speak encouraging words to one another. Now I know, of course, after every time I'm up here, everybody's going to walk up and hey, good job, good job, good job. If you don't, I'm working on that. I'm good. I'm better, so you don't have to tell me good job, right? I know after I said that, yeah, thanks. Yeah. So speak encouraging words to one another. And I know a lot of times when it's our love language, that we also probably emphasize that a lot on others. I know that I do. You know, I overly the top sometimes. Hey, great job, man. That was awesome, you know. And they're like, no, I fumbled, you know. But it was an awesome fumble, man, you know. It's one of the things I do with the Bowie football team. You know, I work with the Bowie football team, and I get to go on the sideline, and I'm basically, Coach Avis calls me the motivational coach. And so, you know, when guys come off the field and they've, you know, done something wrong, or they've already gotten chewed out by every coach on staff, I grab them and go, hey, it's okay. All right, you're all right. You know, you're gonna do better, and I encourage them with words of affirmation. But it says, so speak encouraging words to one another. Build up hope so you'll all be together in this one. In this. No one left out. I love that. It says no one left out. No one left behind. I love how it says that too. Look at that again. So speak encouraging words to one another. Build up hope so you're all in this together. All right. No one left out. No one left behind. I know you're already doing this. Just keep on doing it. Love that. Love, you know, learning that. You want to speak into that?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's just the continuing to encourage and build each other up. I mean, that's...
Yeah, and I picked out Song of Solomon. Song of Song or Song of Solomon. Before 50 Shades of Grey, there was Song of Songs, okay? I don't know. I'm just saying you can go read it and you'll find out what I'm talking about. It's a love chapter, and it's a lot about where he talks, she talks, he talks, she talks, and they talk to each other, and they say a lot of, you know, just really nice things to each other in speaking that love language. And I just had to pick this out because it was just so interesting on how they put it in there. But this is what he says to her. He says, listen to this. And let me find the right one where it's at here. It is right here. Oh, man, did I miss it? Where'd it go? Let him, hang on, give me a second. Yeah, this is how I was. Yeah, thank you for that. Way to throw that out there. He basically, he goes on and he says something like this. He says something about, you know, you are like a horse, basically. He tells this woman that she is like a horse that runs the chariots, all right? And when I read that, and I read it this week just because we're kind of studying for this, I thought this at that time was such a loving, if I told my wife, baby, you're such like a horse in that race, you know, it wouldn't work. So I use this as this illustration is finding out where those words of affirmation, how good they are, not, you know, what does she like to hear? And for me, it's because it's mine. It's not really hers. And I can tell her good job. I still tell her good job all the time. But for her, she knows where to tell me and the right reasons to tell me, you know, so for that. So here's a couple things in your notes right here is how to speak that language, okay, or this language. Be consistent in your praise. Consistent. If I just say one time, hey, good job, and that's it, then I don't know if I'm really relaying that how much I'm saying you good job, right? Okay, because I just said it once and I didn't ever say it again. Be specific in your praise. Be sincere in your praise. And I know you have some notes for that, so I'm just going to go through them and let you go.
Okay, so yeah, just the consistent part, going back to that love tank, it's the same as you put gas in your car one day, you still have to do it again. It's not going to run fully if it's not refilled. And so I know that with him, or people that need affirmation like this, you have to have that regularly. It's not just one time. Our older one is words of affirmation, Colton is. And he has to hear it. He has to hear it. It could be the same thing said 500 times, and the 501st time is still like the first. So I think that's important to note. And then being specific in your praise, hey, good job. Like, that's not specific enough. I know with Kacy, it's, man, you were so funny. You had everybody laughing. That means something to him. I know that if I tell him everybody was locked in, like you could see their eyes were just on you, then that's really specific for him. So it's not just saying, hey, that was really good. It needs to be more. And then the last piece of that was being sincere in your praise. I think if we're consistent and then we're specific, then that shows the sincerity of it.
Yeah, I like that. And it does work when we do that. And speaking that, you know, that language, we're basically knowing it, you know, and her, I like the way she knows what it is that helps me. And I know what it is, even if it's not her love language, but she still likes to hear praise. So I know where to go with it. Here's the next one. All right, we'll jump into this one.
Can I just add one more thing? I'm sorry.
You do whatever you want, baby. That's right.
I don't know. I forgot that I was going to put this in there, but I think that it's really important too that, especially I would think for men, I don't know, maybe for women who've been through this too, but being that he was so emotionally abused as a child, just with the verbiage from his dad and you're nothing, you're this, you're that the words I'm proud of you for, ... whatever that might be, is always really important too. Mm-hmm. Just to be told, I'm so proud of you, speaks louder probably than anything that I say to you.
It really does. Yeah. Would you say it now?
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Okay, good. Be consistent in your praise. I did find that verse. I have to say it now because I found it. It says, I liken you, my darling, to a mare among Pharaoh's chariot horses.
No.
Okay, so yeah, it didn't, not working. Here's the next one, write this down. Number 2 is this, quality time. Quality time. This is actually, we like quality time together. We do a lot together. We go on walks together. We do a lot of stuff, but I'm also on the road a lot, and I'm gone a lot, and she's basketball coaching a lot, and just, there's things that we're not together. Luckily, this is not either one of our love languages. We need this, we love this, we encourage you to have this. And when we talk about quality time, that's having that time together where you put things away. Because a lot of times you think, well, I'm spending time together, but I'm on my phone. I'm spending time together, but I'm on my computer. I'm spending time together, but I'm this or I'm that. Or even like watching a movie, okay, you're together, but are you engaged? Remember the thing we used to do where you kind of like, with a relationship, you either shoulder to shoulder looking this direction or we're face to face looking this direction. And I want to show you this video, and I pulled this off the internet because I just love this when first time I saw this, and it spoke a lot to me on how we are to have quality time. Here, y'all watch this. Man, how real is this one? Yeah? Every time I've seen this, and I get teary-eyed because that was me. I've done that too many times. And let me spend some time together, but I'm on my phone. I'm busy. I've got things, going on. And I know that I'm not going to able to have good quality time if my time is not, if it's divided, right? We're talking about undivided attention. How many has ever said that? I want your undivided attention. Yeah, I'm not dividing my attention between what I'm going on my phone and with my wife or my kids or anybody in my life. One of the things that we do when we go to dinner, but we try to do as much as we can, when we go somewhere and sit down at a restaurant, everybody has to put their phones in the middle of the table. You put them off, you put them on, you put them at the middle of the table, and everybody has to look at each other, everybody has to talk to each other, because let's be real for a minute, that over excessiveness with our phones is getting ridiculous, yes or no? It absolutely is. From adults to teenagers. I see it more with teenagers because I have 2 of them, and I'm around teenagers a lot. I mean, it's absolutely insane, especially a lot of times when I go places where I'm up there and I'm speaking, I'm doing my thing, and I tell a lot of funny, crazy stories. And this has happened last week. I was in as you guys know, I wasn't here on Sunday. I was going from basically from Tuesday to Sunday, speaking at schools and all this kind of stuff. At schools, I do games with people in the beginning to make everybody put their phones in their pockets. And then when they sit down, I'm able to start and not have them pull it out. But I'm talking about, I think it was Wednesday night, I was speaking to a large group of people, and there were like 2 kids that sat on the front row right in front of me. Both of them pulled out their phones, and they were just going all, and I'm sitting there, and I'm doing some crazy fun stuff, and they're not even looking at me. Eventually I walked over, I go, put them away. I don't care who's here. They were like, oh, sorry, and they probably put them away. But man, it's getting absolutely crazy, yes or no? Yeah? Yeah, okay. So I wanted to show that video because I know how many times I've watched that and I went, ooh, I need to do a better job, and catch myself when she walks in the room, my kids walk in the room, and I'm talking to somebody about church business or outside church business or whatever it is, and they go, hey, Dad, can I talk to you? Yeah, man, what's up? And I've done that. Instead of going, yeah, man, what's up? That's what I need to do, right? And so quality time is, basically a couple things. We wrote this down just in the notes so you can look at it. Quality activities include anything, all right, one or both of you enjoy. I think, she has things that she enjoys doing that I do not enjoy doing. But I know that I want to spend time with her. We're going to have quality time together, and I will go do those things like going to the mall. And I hate going to the mall. I especially hate going to the mall when it's like Christmas time.
It's my favorite time to go.
And that's her favorite time. And she'll come in and go, hey, babe, take me to the mall. I go, and eventually I'm there at the mall going, I hate people. And so, but I know she enjoys doing it, she would go to back when I rode dirt bikes, she would go. She hated going, but she would get in that car, she'd go out there and go, good job, baby, the wheel came off the ground, But we know how to feel that. 3 essential things involved in quality activities. Let me just show you this. At least one of you wants to do it. We did that. The other is willing to do it. They got to be willing, okay, to go with you. And both of you know why you are doing it, all right? And that's why, to express love by just being together. Expressing love by being together. Here's number 3. You want to add anything to quality time? I think we said love. Yeah, good. Let's go to 3. Number 3 is this. Receiving gifts. Gift giving or receiving gifts. Okay, a love language of receiving something. All right. So, question: who do you think on this stage has this gift? I mean, this is one of their love languages. Anybody? That's right. That's hers. Okay. She is, and here's the deal. It's not. And of course, we're in the ministry and teaching, so we don't have money. So it's not about large, expensive diamond rings and things like that. It's small stuff. It's little things. It's just me, making something out of a piece of paper and going, it works, because it's her gift. And this is yours. So I'll let you speak more into this one.
Yeah, so it's more about the thought that went into the gift than it is the gift itself. And
so not the piece of paper? Okay, yeah. Note to self.
But it really is thoughtfulness, and I'll give you a couple of examples. I know there are some written there. Doing the dishes is on there, taking out the trash, putting gas in the car.
Well, hold on. I wrote those down.
I know.
Yeah, you went ahead.
Yeah, I'm going. So those are fun, great things. Whenever my gas is filled and I don't have to do it, it's the greatest thing ever. And he takes care of that for me sometimes. But I want to share a specific example. You don't know about this.
Oh, here we go.
So, he knows about it, but he didn't know I was going to share it. So
yeah, she told me this morning we got up. She says, hey, I got a couple things I want to share, but I don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
I said, huh?
So whenever,
so here we go.
My favorite thing that he did that was speaking my language of gift giving, like he was giving me a great gift. This was my favorite one of all time. Was
I don't know what's going to happen here.
I was pregnant with Titan. So baby number 2.
Thank you very much. That's not it? Okay.
No. I'm pregnant with child 2, and I don't remember if I had practice or something after school that day where I was late getting home, and he was home before me. And so he tried to surprise me and make dinner. Now, he don't make anything. I mean, he'll call me and go, hey, honey, how do you make peanut butter and jelly? Like, seriously. So,
Do you put the jelly on first or peanut butter?
right, this is what I deal with him trying to make dinner. So he's trying to surprise me with dinner. So we had talked on the way home, and he's, hey, what are we going to do for dinner? I'm like, oh, I don't even know. So I get home, and before I walk in the door, he says, I blew up the kitchen. Like, you did what?
I did.
He's like, I was trying to make dinner for you because I know it's been a long day, and I blew up the kitchen. I said, what in the world did you make that blew up the kitchen? I'm like, did the oven explode, whatever? He said, I was trying to make rice. So he had taken one of those Pyrex, glass things you put in the oven.
I've seen it on TV.
And he
They
put
water in
it and boiled it on the gas stove and put the rice in and was just letting it go to town. And thankfully, the Lord saved his life that day because somebody came and knocked on the door.
Yeah, right when they knocked on the door.
And he had just rounded out the kitchen and went to the door and heard the boom, the huge explosion of this glass Pyrex full of water and rice that went all
Boiling
over
water, rice,
all over the kitchen.
and glass. Stuck
Everywhere.
In the ceiling. It was stuck in the ceiling. Glass was actually stuck in the ceiling.
Yeah. So this is what I came home
And the guy
to.
at the door goes, do you need to go? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was cooking dinner for my wife. She's pregnant. I think I just killed the other kid, so I probably need to go check what's happening here.
Yeah, so I walk in and it was that. But I wasn't even mad. I knew I was probably going to have to be the one to clean it up because you can't do that either. But it was okay because it was just so thoughtful.
I love the fact that you picked a story from 12 years ago. It's good to know that.
That's my favorite one.
No, I know. And I did. And I was trying to do something nice, and I was trying to give that gift, and it just didn't work out. But since then, I've learned, don't do that. Okay, so we're good.
Everyone told me he only did that so that he never has to make dinner again, really. But I think it was because...
And whoever said that. Okay. 2 Corinthians 9:7 says this, you must each decide in your hearts how much to give, what to give, how much to give on this. Look at this. And don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure. See, I don't want to give to her because, you know what, I know she likes it and I might get something out of it. Hey. So I don't want to go there with it. What I want to do is I want to know because I love her and I know she loves receiving those things that I do that for her because I know her love language and and other people. I know other people that have this and I will get little things for them and get them for them and things like that.
So I just realized I accidentally skipped and did the service.
Yeah. We'll go back to it in a second. That's all right.
Sorry,
That's what I'm
guys.
saying. You jumped a little ahead. That's all right.
My bad.
It's okay. Look, and don't give reluctantly and in response to pressure. It says, for God loves a person who gives cheerfully. So it's about, I know the love language, but I'm not going, here's another gift for you. Because that's not going to work, is it? That's not going to, that's not going to work. So, and I know that, and I do, and now that I know she loves those things, I do like finding little things here and there. Sorry. I do enjoy finding those things here and there to go, oh, I found this for you. Or I know what her favorite little things are, and I'll just grab one and go, hey, I got this for you. And it wasn't much, or I even,
Well, like the one time I came home and there was a pair of pink boxing gloves on my pillow.
Yeah.
Because I had taken up kickboxing.
Yeah, and I saw some pink boxing gloves in the store, and I went, oh, yeah, pink.
Surprise.
She likes that color, and she likes to punch things. So here, let me get this for her. All right? So giving gifts, is this in your notes? Giving gifts is a part of loving. A gift is a symbol of thought. And of course, gifts are tangible symbols of love. Even those little intangible means these little things that you give. So here's number 4. This is where Vickie, this is her 2 love languages. This is why she was kind of ran those together. Because these are her acts of service. Acts of service. That's your next love language. And I know that's hers. This one's not mine. I don't really, I think if somebody does something for you, that's great. I love that. I love that they do that. But it doesn't speak my love language. But for her, the acts of service is a big one, okay? She has told me this, that she believes when I do the dishes and make lunch for the boys, it's
Sexy.
It's sexy, that's right. So and I don't know if that's just a ploy to go, hey, you're so sexy when you do those dishes. I'm like, I'm in there getting after the dishes. And it's probably because she said it,
He's been doing the dishes
going,
a lot.
Got him. Well, you don't believe how much dishes I do. All right? I'm going to other people's houses going, I get some dishes. All right, we're going. So, and making the lunches. But that's why I wrote this on here, just on doing the dishes, is like what I know that she enjoys and that she is, says.
And so I think it's important too to note, so gifts and service, like that's what speaks to me. And there's that scripture that even says, do unto others as you'd have them do to you, and that's totally valid, but in the right language. And so I know that at first, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing all these things for him when we first got married. And he would come home and just be like, not having it, he's just sad or he doesn't look happy. And I was so confused by that. I didn't understand because I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing to make him happy because that's what would make me happy. Mm-hmm. And then I learned he needs affirmation. So he doesn't care if I make dinner or not.
That's what she came up with. You look so good doing the dishes.
That's right.
All right, so it's worked out well.
So yeah.
Which is, I'm going to do those when we get home. All right, so doing the dishes, I know that, taking out the trash, even though I know we have kids and we beat them and we make them do those things, but I know that it's not just us making the kids do their chores and stuff, it's when I actually do it, when I spend the time, when I actually do it, makes the difference. Putting gas in the car, I try to notice every time her car is almost running out of gas, and I will try to take it to the store, and I haven't been doing a very good job with that, but I'm going to do it better, because that's why I wrote it down. I know you had to get gas, because I didn't know this, by the way. I don't know if you know this or not, but women can't pump their own gas. So, I'm kidding. I'm going to pump your gas. But it's not that she can't. It's just when I do it, I'm showing her that I love her. So I find that, her tank's almost done. Let me go and, just like, guys, listen, like we said in the beginning, just like that love tank, when I fill that gas in her gas tank, I'm filling the love tank, okay? And we want to keep the love tank full. And so John 3:16, I think pretty much where it talks about service, where he says he gave his all for us. That's Jesus. Jesus gave his all for us. Jesus gave everything to us. And the last one is this one, and it's physical touch. Who do you think on this stage has this love language? Anybody? Me, that's right. This is my second love language. So my first one is affirmation, mine is physical touch. It's not hers. But physical touch, and then this one, and it goes back to, again, I think one, being male, okay? Most males in this room, that's just, and I'm not talking about a sexual touch, I'm just talking, for me, I'm a touchy-feely guy. I like to shake hands. I'll put the second hand on there. I like to pat to this. I love a hug. For me, just that physical touch relays a lot of things, and one of them, and I'll just share this very quickly, and we'll be done in a second. We're going to worship a little bit together, but in Matthew, in chapter 8, Jesus, if you look at his stories, just about every time Jesus healed somebody, he touched them. I don't know if you know this, but almost every single time, he could have just went, you're good. He could have done it from somewhere else. He could have done it from some other place. He meets a guy with leprosy. Now, leprosy is the most, the one thing you don't want to touch, right? Okay, you will get it by just being in their presence. And Jesus shows his love for this person in this story in Matthew 8, where he goes in and he could have just went, ooh, gross. Hey, you're healed. Bye. See you later. He could have done a million different ways he could have healed this guy. But what does he do? He touched him. He walks in and puts his hand on him and says, hey, I got you. You're okay. And a lot of times when, for me, I know many times where my life has been a roller coaster life, especially growing up, man, and having people being able to just put their hands and say, hey, it's okay. That hand on the shoulder, that hand on the deal. And then Jesus reached out his hand and he touched the man. He says, I'm willing, he said. So he says, be clean. Immediately he was cured of his leprosy. You want to speak into the physical touch for a minute, and I'm going to close with this.
Yeah, sometimes it can just be just a hand on the shoulder, just, hey, checking in on you today. Are you doing all right? I know even as a basketball coach, I have all different realms of love languages on our team, and sometimes it's hard to keep them all straight and meet the needs of everybody, but some of them are uncomfortable with that touch. Some of them crave that. Some of them, they're just, whatever the love language is, it's all different, but I know that for him, he needs sometimes maybe just to rub his back, or hold his hand or give him a hug or something to that retrospect. I know both of our boys are this way too. My younger one just last night hardly ever does this, but it was super sweet. Just laid his head on my lap and fell asleep. And so I just rubbed his head, while he laid there. Just
It was good.
that extra touch.
And knowing that with certain people, and there are certain people who, they don't want to be touched. They don't want you touching them. And you can probably kind of know that, I'm just talking about if you put the hand out on the shoulder and like, oh, hey, easy, buddy, you're a little too close. It's like, it's kind of getting to know that as well. But let me tell you what a touch does. Let me read this to you, and I'll share this last story with you. Here's what a touch does. A touch communicates the emotional love, okay? Just a touch communicates the emotional love. A touch communicates value, that you value that person. You value them as a person. A touch communicates acceptance. I accept you. No matter what you've done, who you are, hey, I accept you. Like, shake your hand, put my arm around you. A touch communicates security and assurance. I know that's for sure, for me. A touch communicates compassion, sorrow for another. They're going through a tough time. I know people who go through tough times and hardships and things like that need just a hug. I know a hug can speak so many ways, and a lot of times just a hug, you don't have to say anything. You can just hug somebody and tell them you love them, and that you don't have to fix their problem. See, as guys, sometimes we want to fix the problem. You come in, she comes in and says, this went down, this happened, and automatically I just want to go, oh yeah, we'll do this, and this. And she's like, I don't need you to fix me. Just need you to listen and give me a hug. And that touch communicates, compassion, sorrow for one another. And a touch can say many words of thank you when words are not needed. So I'll share this story with you about mine. It's in my book that I wrote. And if you've not been here before, I wrote a book and it was called The Crash. And I was in a plane crash with my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather was killed. My grandmother, was almost killed. I mean, literally cut almost completely in half. We thought we were going to lose her, but she survived. I went out into a field in a passion. I found help, and I was 6 years old. Well, I lived with my father, who was, again, very abusive and rough, and my father would leave me in bars. He would take me, and he would get drunk and forget me and leave me. I got left in people's homes. I got left in bars. I got left in all these different places. And one time I got left at school. I've been left at school many times, and I would actually sleep behind the school under a stairwell. I found some boxes, and I put the boxes under the stairwell, and I would sleep underneath there. I would steal crackers off the salad bar that was at the school. They had salad and a bowl of crackers, and I would fill my pockets up with crackers. And so I would take them and I would hide them under there, or I know that if my dad doesn't pick me up, I got a pocket full of them, so I got some dinner tonight. That was my world. That was my life. Well, one night, I had been left several times, but this night I'm sitting out there waiting for my dad, and he wasn't showing up. I'm looking, I'm trying to find him, and he's just not there. And, you kind of get to know when he's not going to be there, because the teachers would finally leave, those last students would leave, and I was all basically on first name basis with the custodians, because they were the last ones to leave. And I would see them leave, and I knew if they're gone, if I don't leave before them, he's not coming. So they left, and I sat out there, and it got dark, and it got later, and it got later, and I just sat there thinking, all right, what do I do? Do I try to go to someone's house? It was too far to walk. I couldn't walk. Do I go to someone's house? Do I go to, or just go back over here and sleep again and wake up and try this all over again? I got crackers. I'm good for tonight. And I look up, and I you know what? I don't even remember ever seeing this, but I saw a phone booth. It was a phone booth. And so I see this phone booth, and I go, you know what? I got to call my grandma. This is the grandmother that was in the plane crash with me. This is the grandmother who would come pick me up from bars and pick me up, the grandmother, my dad would drop me off in front of her yard, 2 o'clock in the morning. She would drop me off and just go, he would drop me off and go, just go. And I'd walk up to the door, 3 in the morning, and knock on the door. My grandma would wake up. She'd come to the door and go, baby. She's from Louisiana, so she'd talk like this. She'd say, baby. And people from Louisiana, they love to cook, don't they? Yeah, boy. And so my grandmother would answer that door at 2 o'clock in the morning. She'd ask me this question: are you hungry? First question she'd ever asked. Anybody got a grandma like this? I'm just curious. Okay. Are you hungry? And I go, of course I'm hungry. I got crackers in my pocket, Grandma. Yes. So I'd come in and she'd make these biscuits. And I'm not talking about biscuits you pop open in a can. I'm talking about she would pour out some flour, some water, and some grandma magic, and she would sprinkle it on there, and she would put these things in there. And I don't know if this is a Louisiana thing, but she would make this stuff called sugar syrup. It's a stick of butter and a a bag of sugar and boil it, okay? Yeah, it's diabetes in a can, all right? And you would pour this over the biscuits, and it was just absolutely amazing, and especially amazing when you're just needing to feel a love from someone because you don't feel love from someone else, and man, those biscuits were just incredible. And so this grandmother, I knew I needed to call that night. I see the phone booth, and so I run over to it and I make a collect call. See, back in the day in a phone booth, you can make collect calls, okay? So you can hit a button and then get on an operator and go, hi, I need you to call this number. It was 318-539-97290. I know that today like I knew it yesterday. That's how that number was just ingrained in my head, because that number saved my life so many times. That was coming.
You're doing great,
I said the
baby.
number, and I was just like, oh, that number. 8375309. So I go to that phone booth, and I call collect, and I talk to this operator. I said, ma'am, I need to call my grandma. Tell me the number. She said, okay, you gotta remember, it's late at night. She's already in bed. And back in the day, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but they would do this. They would actually you would be on the line with them as they call collect, and they go, you have a collect call from Kacy Benson. You know, do you accept the charges? Okay, do y'all remember this? And you can hear their response on the other end. If they go, oh no, not him, you know. And it was always really bad when you called the wrong person. But I heard my grandma's voice, and oh gosh, that voice. I remember hearing her voice that night. And she said, hello, you know, just she's asleep and she's country. And she's, 60-something years old, right? And so the lady goes, you have a collect call from Kacy Benson. Do you accept the charges? And I go, please accept it. She can't hear me. And I go, I think he really needs you to accept these charges, this lady on the other line. So finally, my grandma goes, yes. And she goes, baby, you okay? And I remember the first time I said, no, Grandma, I'm not okay. I go, Dad left me at school again. I'm stuck here, you know, and I don't know what to do, and I know I'm not supposed to spend the night here. And I go, can you come get me? Now I want to tell you, she was about an hour and a half away, okay? We were living in a place called Benton, Louisiana, which is North Louisiana. Benton, okay, the school, my father lived out in Rocky Mount, okay? It's a really good ways away, all right? It's a good 45 minutes and 50-minute drive. That's why he wouldn't come get me, because it's so long. And so she lived in Spring Hill, an hour and a half away, different place, over by Arkansas, okay? So she says, absolutely, stay there and don't move. An hour and a half went by, but it felt like this. I remember looking up and seeing car lights coming. She's coming. And she comes pulling up, pulls in. She had her daughter with her named Judy. She said, get in the car. I jumped in the back, and I didn't say a word. I just sat there. She said, what? She spun out of there, all right? I was like, oh, here we go, you know? 45 minutes later, we pull up in the house where I was living. She pulls up into the yard. She did not stop on the curb. She did not use the driveway. My grandmother at 60-something years old, I'm talking with the steering wheel down here, she pulls up into the yard and just spins that car around, okay? Threw some dirt into the house and killed the gnome, okay? And she gets out, she opens the door, and she reaches down and she grabs a half a pool stick. And I went, I didn't know my grandmother played pool, much less have a pool stick, okay? She grabs the pool stick, she gets out, she looks at me, she points the stick at me, okay? And she goes, come on, let's get your stuff. I said, oh, it's going down. I get out, she comes to the door, and you would think she would just come, maybe tap on the door, knock, whatever. No, my 65-something-year-old grandmother walked up to the door, standing, I'm right behind her on the porch. I'm actually on the yard. She goes up the 3 steps, walks to the porch, and looks at the door for a second, just goes, boom, and kicked that joker in. I'm not making that up. She put her foot on that door, and it went in. I went, oh, this is about to happen. I didn't move. I stood there frozen in the yard, and my grandmother went in, and all I now hear is, you ain't gonna treat my baby like this. And I heard this stick flying and yelling and screaming, and all this craziness was happening. And then all of a sudden, I kind of find my way in there, and she is just going to town on this dude with this pool stick. He's laid up with some woman, and she's hitting her. She's hitting her. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And she turns around, looks at me, and goes, pack your bag. I go, okay. I jump in, I'm packing. All of a sudden, we're backing out of the house. We go run, we dive into the car. My grandmother jumps in, they're yelling at each other. And there's like a scene from Cops, right? I'm like laying in the back seat. She kind of does a donut in the front yard. flies off down the road. I mean, I'm talking squealing, the tires just flying down the road. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting down this road. The same grandmother that was in this plane crash with me, the same grandmother who would feed me these biscuits, the same grandmother, I start to cry. And I'm just crying. I'm in this back seat and I'm crying in this emotional roller coaster that's going down. And I'll never forget this. It's probably why physical touch is such an important deal for me. My grandmother, while driving, okay, looking over the steering wheel, turns around and she finds me laying in the back seat with her hand, and she began to rub my back. And she said, "Hey, I got you. He'll never hurt you again, ever." And she patted my back. In that moment when she put her hand on me and said, "Hey, I got you," and I felt that, just that grandmother hand on my back, I knew I was going to be okay. I knew I was going to be okay. And that same hand we get from God when our life feels like it's falling apart. When we feel like we've just gone through the most horrible pain in our lives, God's saying this, "Let me put my hand on you and tell you you're going to be okay. Hey, I got you. Let me rub your back, or let me pat you on the shoulder, or that's God gives us that touch when we need it the most. But we have to reach out for it. We have to know it's there. We have to make the phone call. See, a lot of times if we're just sitting there and we're looking at the phone going, "Man, I need to make this phone call. I need to," and we don't, and I did that multiple nights where I didn't call, I didn't do whatever. But that night I made the call. And sometimes in our lives we just need to make the call. You know how we make the call? It's like this simple. And He'll accept the charges every time. "Hey, God, I need you. Hey, God, I can't do this without you." And when we call out to Him, we cry out to Him, and we just say, "God, He'll put His arms around us. He'll grab us, He'll hold us, and He'll tell you you're okay." And the storm listen, my dad didn't sober up. He didn't come back home. None of that happened. Things got even worse. I went back to Galveston, and it was, you know what? He put His arms around me and said, "I got you," just like my grandma did. Hey, would you pray with me? Hey, God, thank you so much that we can come and just have some fun today and talk about our relationships and all the different love languages that we have here. And God, I pray that today that people will go home and maybe talk about this and talk about what each other's love languages are and how we can find what they are so we can meet those needs of those who are in our lives. And God, I just pray that for those in this room who may be going through that storm and just going through that loneliness and going through that hurt and going through that pain, that even in this moment that you can reach down and put your arms around them. You can reach down and give them that touch. Maybe just on the shoulder or rub on the back and say, "Hey, I got you. You're okay. You're going to be all right." So God, thank you for giving us that peace. Thank you for giving us that incredible security that you love us. And that's where we get our love language from, is from you, because you love us so much, God. Thank you for loving us. And I pray for those maybe here today that don't have that relationship with you, that they will explore more of what it means to have that. What does it take to have that? What do we do to have that? And they will cry out. Make that phone call. Thank you for accepting the charges, God. Thank you. Hey, Jesus, we love you. We thank you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Hey, we're going to worship. If you stand just for a moment. I want to give you this just real quick. I want to challenge you to go to this website. We put it on the bottom. It says 5lovelanguages.com and take the test. It's like you fill it out. You fill this test thing out. Your wife, your husband, your friends, your neighbor, your kids, you fill it out, and you'll find out what your love language is. You'll find out who your partner's love language is. And then it will help you fill that tank. Amen? Well, hey, come back and see us next week. We're going to still worship. We're not leaving. We're going to do this a couple more times. We'll see if we do it. We'll talk later. No, we're going to keep doing it. We got some fun stuff for you. So come back and see us. Thank you, guys.